Welcome. In this video, we're going to take a look at how to set up classifications and properties in Dalux FM. Classifications are how we sort and categorize the different assets within our system, and also how we manage the properties that goes along with them. Let's get started. First, let's take a look at what classifications are. By going to Assets, here's a list of our assets. It has been grouped on classification, and you can therefore see that we have different classifications on different assets. This is how we categorize them in different types. There's a pre-loaded classification system inside of Dalux, but it can be user-defined to any system that you want. Let's go take a look at the setup. We go to Settings, and then we go to Assets. Then we have Classification and Properties. First, we take Classification. Here you can see the classification system that is loaded into this instance of Dalux FM. There will be another system preloaded into Dalux FM as a default. You can add to this classification system by entering a new code. So if we needed the code like this and call it just an example, doors, we can then create it. We also map it as a folder so that the folder structure out here is created. But for now, let's make it like this and hit OK. Now you can see that our classification is here, and it has the classification icon instead of the folder icon. Beware that the folders cannot be selected in the assets. These are just for containment of the different categories. When you take a look at one of these and you click them, over here you can see our properties. These are the user-defined fields that can be selected on the different assets. The grayed out ones are the ones that have been selected as being unified and therefore available on all classifications. And the ones without anything in it yet, we can select it. Then that means that this field that we're going to take a look at later inside of properties will then be available for this classification. If we want those for our doors, then we can select them here as well. So for instance, the doors, it could be a good idea to have fire rating. So now that we've selected that, we can click Save. If we then create an asset, see more about this on creating assets and products, then selecting classification, then you can see that we can now select doors. We hit select. And then all of the fields that are available for all classifications will pop up, as well as fire rating. If we didn't tick that box off before, the fire rating would not be here. That's how you differentiate what kind of fields you need for what classifications. It's therefore a good idea to have fire rating on doors, but maybe that's not very important on a ventilation system. On the ventilation system, you want a whole different setup. So let's try and make one. So we go to Settings, Properties, and here it's the other way around. Here we can add user-defined fields. So for instance, we can create one for our ventilation system called Flow. We can give it a field code if we use that. There are many different field types. This is what defines the way the field works inside of the asset. It could be a header, text, notes, options, and so on. It can also be yes, no, URL codes, and also BIM properties. You can add a default value so that there will be a predefined text inside of the field already. You can add unique values. You can make it a standard field that is shown on the standard view. Obligatory, so that you cannot leave it empty. And also add a help message. For instance, the flow of the duct. This could, for instance, be a integer, and we can add a unit. That could be custom unit. And then let's call that cubic meters an hour. And then hit OK. Now we've created a property. By default, it is not loaded onto any of our classifications. This means that this field cannot be used yet. We can either select all classifications, then that field will pop up on all assets, regardless of classification. Now that's not such a good idea when it's the flow, because that's not a unified information that we need. We only need that on, for instance, ventilation. So let's search out ventilation and exterior vents. Let's hit that one here. We can also click the rest, and then it will be available on those three. Now if we hit save and we go back, so now if we go back and we open the door that we just created, if we then select a different classification, for instance, one of the three that we just selected, and hit select, now the field flow appears. But see that the fire rating has now been removed. You can now enter the data with the unit that we specified and with the help text right here. That's how you differentiate what fields are available on what assets inside of Dialogz FM. And there are endless possibilities on how to set this up to create the best data for your system. That's all for this video. See you again next time.